Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth. And today we're going to be playing, I'm going to read this as XV times 3.97 rather than XV star 3.97. Obviously I could be entirely wrong here. But yes, we are playing another of NurglesGift XV puzzles, one of my absolute favorites. It does also have negative constraint, which is, what I'm all about when it comes to XV puzzles. So I'm really looking forward to this particular puzzle. And it's got a 96% rating as of the time of recording. It's, what else do I need to mention? 2-star difficulty rating, appropriate for, I think, a Sunday morning. But I imagine that with our normal techniques around XVs, it's going to feel a little bit more approachable than usual. That's enough of an introduction. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets with XV, come on, Sleuth, there you go, XV times 3.97 by NurglesGift, and the following set of rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Nothing unusual here. We have cells connected by an X must sum up to 10. Let me just find one. So if this cell is a 2, this cell would have to be an 8 to make sure that these two cells add up to 10. And essentially that would be true for every dominoes made up with X joining these two cells. These have to add up to 10, these are 10, these are 10, etc. Then of course we've got the V's. So cells connected by a V must sum up to 5. So if this is a 2, this would have to be a 3 to make sure that these two cells add up to 5. Same is true for these, they all have to add up to 5. Now the emphasis on here is all X's and V's are given. For example, if I add a 7 in here, these two cells add up to 10. That cannot work because there is no X between them. I've broken the puzzle. If I do something as such, 1 and 4, these two cells add up to 5. There is no V between them. I have broken the puzzle. So all of these cannot be possible. Digits inside a cage cannot be orthogonally adjacent with a consecutive digit. So I only see the one cage. Orthogonally adjacent means these 4 cells cannot be consecutive with whatever's in here. So let's say that this is a 5. All of these can be anything other than 4 and 6. So as long as if I put something that is consecutive with the 5, I have broken the puzzle once again. And then last but not least, we've got cells connected by a white dot must be consecutive. I see one in here. So it just feels, well, it is cells because it's 2 cells are connected by a white dot. If that's 2, that would have to be a 3. That would make these 2 cells consecutive. I'm actually wondering if that doesn't work with the V. So I'll be honest, I'm not sure. Because, they also add up to 5 and then that would feel like it's broken. Maybe that is not allowed and this is allowed. I'm not entirely sure. I'll be careful when I come across to this white crop kirot. That's all the rules we have for today. So as always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. You know what to do. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Right. As always, what I normally do is I start coloring things. So I'm just having a look around to see. Yeah, I think I can. I'm going to start in here because I'm just looking for the longest chain that I am confident I can color. 2 cells that add up to 5 can only ever be either 1, 4 or 2, 3. And as such, I know I can actually color them differently, blue or green. I also know that a 10 is always made up of a low digit, 1, 2, 3, 4, with a high digit, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the other thing that I can do is label this as red. These 2 cells have to be the same so that they can actually add up to 10, so that would be blue. Oh, I was feeling so confident this is going to be the opposite color, but I am actually less confident now. I know that this is green because it can't be 3 cells that are blue in the same row. So this would be red. This obviously has to be blue now because in the column 8 it can't be 3 greens. So that would be green. Therefore this is green. Therefore this is blue. Therefore. One of these is low, one of these is high. And I actually know that this is the low digit. And the reason I know that is if this is low, can't be green. And if I make it blue, then obviously Sudoku says it can't be the same cell as this one, it would be that one, which would add them up to 5 and there's no V. So this cannot be the low digit, and therefore this is red, and this is the low digit, which has to be now green because we've already got 2 blues. Interesting. We can apply the same logic. We've got all of the low digits in column 8 now, so that's the high digit, excuse me. Sorry, needing a moment to think. This has to be a blue-red because we've already got 2 greens. That can't be the blue cell, otherwise again it would create a V. So that's the red, that's the green. This has to be the high digit because we've got all the low digits in box 6. And therefore this is the low digit and we've already got 2 greens, so that's blue. This is the same thing that we had ran into earlier. This has to be blue-red because we've already got 2 greens. It has to be separated, otherwise they would add up to 5. So in here, what am I thinking? So I'm thinking that I've got all the low digits in row 3, so all of these are going to be high. And I know they're going to be different colors, because if they're both blue, then there is a 5 in here. If they're both green, there is a 5. So there's one of each, which means, let me kind of color it. I've got 2 blues in row 4. So this cell has to be green-red. Interesting. I am not too sure what's going on. This is blue. Essentially, Sudoku says that I have 2 blues in here. And if I make them consecutive, or adjacent, I should say, rather than consecutive, then of course I need a V, and there's no V in between these 3 cells. So they have to be separated as such, making this one blue. More interestingly, in row 7, I've got 2 blues, which means this cell cannot be blue, it has to be green. This has to be blue. 2 greens means that this is not green. That's blue, and this is green. These are now obviously high. This is high. In here, I've already got 2 blues. Therefore, this is a green-red, and I've already got 2 greens in column 5. So that's the green, that's the red. I need a second green, which is not in here, because I've already got them. I need a second green, which is not in there, Sudoku. So that's green. So the rest are essentially, there's a 5 in here, which I'm going to use gray as a neutral color for, and this is a high digit. I don't know yet the rest. I still need 2 greens, which are not here. They're not there. That's green. That's all the greens done, which unfortunately gives me again kind of a red 5 and again a red 5. Yeah, I need to sort of try and start pinning down some of these 5s, and I'm struggling to see it. Greens are not here, greens are not there. So either one of these 3, well, I say either, there's 3 cells that could be green, I'm not sure. This one has to be blue-red, because I've already got 2 greens in here. And I am not sure of the order either in here. Let me have a think around low digits and high digits. How many have I actually placed? So at most I have 1 green in here. And technically, oh, so yeah, I actually have definitely 1 green in there. So if I have both greens on the right-hand side of this box, I would have to separate them because there is no V in there. And if I separate them, I'll end up with 3 greens in row 3. So long story short, there is 1 green in here and there is 1 green in there. I'm just going to use a flash for a second. which also means there are no more greens in there, no more greens in here, no green in there. One of these is definitely a green. I don't need the white flash in here. And then a second one is in there, which can't be this cell. It would have to be one of these two. Now, where is my second blue in box 1? Can't be this cell, because we've already got 2 of them. Can't be in here because it'll be consecutive and therefore would create a V. So it's essentially joining one of these. And it can't be this side because we've already got 2 of them. So this is not white flash, this is blue-green flash. Okay. And we kind of have like a blue X-Wing. And then like a green X-Wing, sort of. Just because of the pressure on the number of greens and blues that we have in rows 1 and 2. Interesting. Can I see anything else? I am going to shift to letters momentarily, but what I often find is that if I can place as many of these as I can, it's very helpful. Let me give you an example. Where is green in box 5? Well, it can't be any of these cells because I've already got 2 of them. It's got to be one in here. And there's got to be one in here. And it can't be this cell because of this V. So let's think about the implications. If this is green, that's green. If this is green, that's green. Right. And I essentially can't differentiate them yet. I think that's as far as I'm going to be able to take it at this point, because essentially I've looked at every X and V. And I've really looked at a lot of blank cells. So I'm going to start thinking about letters. Right. So I know that essentially this is either 1, 4 or 2, 3. I don't know what it is, but as long as I'm essentially just think of it as algebra, I am consistent in my application of it, then it doesn't really matter. And as long as I'm consistent in what I partner with to add up to 10, again, it doesn't really matter. So here is a bunch of things that I can just quickly do. That's not F, that's A, excuse me. And then this is A, this is I. This is essentially DF. And then one of these is A, and it can't be this cell. So that's the A. And therefore this is not blue, and this is not green. And therefore this is not the green cell, this is the green cell. Right? A can't be next to another blue. So that gives me D and F. That also gives me D and F in here. And therefore this is A, this is I. And like we're making a decent amount of progress. D has to be one of these 3 cells based on Sudoku. Can't be next to the A. Can't be above these 2 blues. So that's blue. And these cells, I'm not sure I know how to differentiate at this point. Can I differentiate? Maybe not yet. Okay, let's move on to greens for a second. I mean, I'm going to just start anyway. I have no idea where would make the most amount of sense. That wasn't the best spot, was it? Yeah, I'm going to actually try somewhere else that's a bit more connected to the rest of the grid. Maybe in here. I'm already regretting this choice. Well, this can't be the same as this letter. Otherwise, there would be an X in here, so this has to be different. Yeah, that makes sense. And therefore, That's better. That is a lot more connected. Yeah, that's better. Means that one of these is C. So I kind of did it the opposite way around, because previously one of these was B. It's interesting that somehow you're able to link it. Let's think about this. Essentially, it's saying one of these two cells is B. Sudoku says that. If that's B, that would be H. That would be C. And then that would be another C. Yeah, all plausible. So, oh, G in here tells me that this is not G. Therefore, this is H. This is B. That can't be B. Better. That's B. That's C. That's B. That's C. Right. Can I nail down the last C's that are in here? The C X-wing. Maybe. That's got to be G. This is B and 5. No, not B, excuse me. H and 5. We've got everything else. Yeah, not very useful. AD, FI, FI. It's kind of implying that this cell is that. Yeah, because it's got to be different. So this is another FI in here. This is the AD. I know all of that is kind of nonsense. I'm just repeating things, but I almost want to add another flash on top of these blues just to differentiate them. But so this is 5 or H just to complete the row, and it's not H. So that is 5. Is that genuinely our first? Goodness. Number in 13, almost 14 minutes in. That means that this is the 5. This is whatever is left to be placed, which is H by the looks of things. And this is F or I. Not helpful. Not helpful. It's fine. Guessing it's going to come down to the white crop dot or this cell to help me kind of figure it all out. But that's, so these have to be high digits, because essentially I placed all the low digits and the 5. They are I and F, aren't they? Because I've got G and H, and the F can't be next to the D, excuse me. So this is I, this is F, which gives me I, and therefore that's A, that's D, that's A, that's I, that's F, that's D, A, D, I, F. Lovely. Here has to be an H to complete the box. What have I got left in here? G, F. So F's not there. F is in one of two places. And G's not there, but still in one of two places. This is not the best. CH in here. Again, not the best. What about the column? So I need a 5 and something. H, F, I, G. Which I can't place still. 5 and G. So in here I have another CH and an F, which is basically anywhere. And here is 5 and G. Yeah, it is G. Let's just put that in. Yeah, Sudoku says all of that looks good. Now G obviously next to, sorry, I didn't mean to put H, did I? I meant to put G, which means 5 and G. This can't be G. This has to be C. This has to be G. G can't be consecutive next to the C. So that's the G, and this is the 5. And then we can resolve this X-wing. That's essentially a C. And all of the remaining digits in here are high. And includes an H and F. For some reason I can't place. Okay, that's fine for now. And then in here I need 5. I'm sorry, it takes me a while to see some of these. 5 and F? No, I've got for F. F, I, G, H, excuse me. H. H can't be next to B, so that is the 5. That is the H, which gives me F, which gives me H. F is supposedly consecutive with either 5 or G, and H is not consecutive with 5 or G. Interesting. So that's another 5 or G. These two cells are 5 or F. That can't be F's next to D. That's F. That's 5. This is F. This is 5 or G. Bit of a shame that none of these are like B's around it to help resolve this quickly. So we're clearly going to have to do a bit of thinking there towards the end. Let's see if we can wrap this up first in terms of, well, not pencil marks. I'm kind of aspiring for a bit more. H, I, and F, that can only be G. I need H and I that are left. H can't be next to B, so that's H, that's I. And all of these are high. Then I have 5, which can't be in this cell. So that's 5, and this is H. And then I need I and G. I and G. There you go. Right. So we're going to have to figure out from these, what are they trying to tell us? And yeah, there is no easy way out here. 5 and G are pretty neutral with all of the surrounding cells here. So this is exclusively coming down to these additional clues. So let's have a think about this for a second. And what it's telling me is either the F is 6 and is consecutive with 5, let's put 5 in here. What does that mean? If that's 5, then that would be G. And essentially, because the 5 sees I, H, and G, it would mean that none of them are consecutive, so they would have to be 7, 8, and 9, and it would force the F to be 6. Ironic, isn't it? Because whether this is 5 or this is 5, F is always 6. I'm going with it. So that means 6, 4, 1, 9. Now, either G is 7, and this is 8. G8 would go with 2, and this is 5, which looks wholly plausible to me, by the way. There's nothing broken about that. If G is 7. Now, if G is not 7, and this is 5, G would have to be 7 or 8. And G and H, there you go. G and F. So once we've established that 1 and 4 are blues, the partners of G and B have to be consecutive digits. They're 7 and 8. And essentially, if this is G, I've broken the puzzle because it's consecutive with H. So this has to be 5. This has to be G. And that gives us everything that we need from here. Because essentially it tells us that G is the 7, H is the 8, B is the 2, and C is the 3. Phenomenal puzzle. NurglesGift. Phenomenal puzzle. And it's quite convenient that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I all kind of lined up with the actual digits. But what a fantastic puzzle. One of my smoother solves of late, so I'm feeling pretty proud of that. I'm not going to try and hurt my back, patting myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.